$60 per barrel is the price ceiling for Russian oil. It was introduced by the G7 countries, the European Union and Australia back in December 2022 in response to Russian full-scale war against Ukraine. Since then, the Russian Federation has been looking for various ways, in particular using shadow fleets, to circumvent Western sanctions. However, the US is closing these loopholes. Thus, in December 2023, the United States Department of the Treasury tightened sanctions against Russian oil revenues, strengthening control of the process and the transportation of oil from the Federation. Russia, as Bloomberg writes, has felt the sanctions.
Over the past months or so, a total of 14 tankers holding the nation's barrels to India have either been dithering, U-turned or switched off equipment that informs digital tracking systems of their location and what they are doing over the past months or so. The fate of the ships will be closely watched by authorities in Moscow and the West. The US is trying to tread a fine line between, on the one hand, limiting Russia's access to petrodollars, while at the same time maintaining supply. From the Bloomberg publication.
The United States has imposed the largest sanctions since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They affected a number of Russian oil traders and the state shipping company Sovcomflot, which due to Western sanctions is already forced to sell part of its fleet.
These sanctions have had a significant impact on exports from Russia. For example, analysts from the Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air have calculated that these measures cost Russia 160 million euros daily, because sanctions led to a decrease in shipment volumes and prices for Russian oil, reducing Russia's export revenue by this amount.
After the sanctions were imposed by the West, Russia was forced to redirect supplies of oil and petroleum products from Europe to Asia. In particular, the Federation began to sell more of its oil to India, at the same time providing New Delhi with discounts on the purchase of black gold. The price per barrel was up to $35. However, supplies began to fall.
Shipments from Russia to India fell to 1.48 million barrels a day in December, according to Kepler, as 6 tankers carrying Sokol-grade oil from the country's Far East could not deliver due to tightening sanctions. From the publication by the Hindu Business Line.
Last year, Russia was the largest oil supplier to India, but besides the sanctions, the economic side of the issue also affected the deliveries. As Indian Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas Hardeep Singh Puri noted, oil refiners began to look for alternative sources of oil due to less attractive discounts from Russia.
Sales are falling for 2 reasons. Oil from Russia is becoming increasingly toxic for countries for which relations with the United States are important, and India's relations with the United States are important. India's trade turnover with the US is tens of times greater than trade with Russia, and also because of the attacks on the supply chains themselves, that is, the fleet.
Experts know that the list of countries to which Russia can supply its oil is limited, and each of them on this list also values their relationship with Washington. So if India closes itself to receiving Russian oil, it will not be easy for the Kremlin. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News.